Sometimes we get up in the middle of the show and go get our own drink. Did anybody? We probably need to turn off the. Did you turn off the ice machine?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, that's
Yep.
Because I don't even notice it when we're shooting, but when I
did.
watch the show,
It
I
goes
can hear
off.
it.
Yeah. No, the first time when we did it with the new machine, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, dude, that's
Can you
loud.
turn the ice maker off, Joe?
Yes.
Do I just put like 2 pieces of ice in here?
yeah, you're drinking this is shot.
Yeah, I don't drink like this. I'm not really serious drinker.
Are the cameras on yet?
So don't.
Does it make you
I
jealous
hope I
that you're all dressed up pretty and perfect and I'm just very casual?
I am very jealous of you always. Yes.
I have that effect on people.
I know. People just want to be like Gunny,
but- Well,
you know?
I'm going to start giving lessons on how to do it. Except for Tom. He doesn't-
how to be cool.
yeah, Tom doesn't want to be like me.
No, I've seen enough of it.
No, I put it on the door and realized it wasn't dark enough.
He's seen the bad stuff.
Yeah. He's been the other side.
He's been to the dark side. Now, Joe, on the other hand, he wants to be more like Joe. They got
Silence your phone, Pete.
Yeah.
we
I
silence
did.
for fun. They got twinsy hats on. Schmidt happens today. I guess double the Schmidt happens
That's
today.
right. Times
yeah.
2.
I am represent.
Times 2.
Double the Schmidt.
That's why I came by your place, picked up the hats, and then looked at your horses.
Did you buy anything?
Not yet. Yeah, I think you would have known.
I would have.
Right?
This is how it works. You work at my place, you spend days and hours at my place, but you never buy any horses at my place. Oh,
Well.
wait, you did buy one. How did that work out for you?
Yeah.
Gee.
He bought them.
I don't. I'm not following. I'm not following this load of crap.
Really?
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Shoot.
Yeah.
Should never do that again.
He
No,
was coming shopping at my house because he spent all year shopping at yours. Shut up. You don't need all the damn money.
Yeah, one horse.
He's bought none from me.
Yeah,
He
see,
went
I'm
to
just
come
looking.
look one time.
I just tire kick at Gunny's.
He's just measuring.
Yeah,
He's just
let's go.
measuring what I got
Yeah.
against what you got.
Yeah, deep in the loin right there. Yeah,
Yeah,
looking good.
loving that hip and hind leg. Here.
Yeah. Little Roman nose.
Dude, I had somebody come look at a yearling. Somebody came and looked at a yearling filly at Monica's once, and she told them, "Yeah, I don't know what to price it." Like they came and looked. She didn't know what to price it at, so they came back to me later and asked me, and I priced it. And then I went back to her and said, "Yeah, hey, I priced that thing for that," and she chewed my ass. I'm like, "Well, you didn't price the damn thing. Why are you yelling at me?" She yelled at me. They didn't buy the horse anyway, so but.
Yeah.
She
No.
was mad. She won't price it, and then she'll yell at me when I price it
Price it.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, well, I said a number.
That sounds about right,
I
right?
said
like
a
a good
number.
number?
You say a number. Like,
If we're not pricing it, it's not for sale.
When I
It's
price,
for
somebody
sale.
comes and looks at one, and I'll price it at whatever 30 or something, and then they'll want to buy it, and I'm like, oh, shit,
It's too cheap.
yeah, happens to me all the time. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
All right, we're back for another episode of the show. As always, Gunny Matheson.
smile if you like Pete Kyle.
I'm smiling. Joe Schmidt, and our special guest today, Pete Cobb.
Thanks
Sorry,
for having me.
I had to mix my intro up, dude. That's the
No,
thing.
that was good.
That's
That's
all
the
right.
thing that I said. That's the thing I always say when I see Pete Kyle.
Smile.
Smile if you like Pete Kyle. Like,
Yeah, I like
That's
it.
good.
Yeah, get a little frown.
it's Pete's. It's Pete's poem.
Yeah, rhymes and everything.
So, Pete is a NRHA World Championship, World Champion, AQHA World Champion, AQHA Professional Horseman of the Year, right?
Correct.
And won a World Championship in just about every breed.
I've been fortunate.
Yeah, and done everything. Done the reining, cow horse, the roping, everything.
Yeah, I grew up in an era in the quarter horse industry where all of our horses did all the classes and we did all the classes. And so I rodeoed through high school, and then I met, I thought my Uncle Jack looked like that was a pretty good deal. He was doing really well in the horse show industry along with ranching. And so when I graduated from high school, I went right to him and thought I wanted to try this industry out, and that's what got me into it.
Yeah, and in that day and time, you did it because you loved it. It wasn't. Can you imagine? We have no idea that it was going to turn into what it is today.
Oh, absolutely not. It's quite incredible, the industry today, in all facets of it. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's so specialized now, you know, to where back then everybody did everything
Yeah.
and was good at all of it. You
Yeah.
know?
And had to do everything. It was
Yeah.
hard to specialize
Oh,
back
yeah.
then.
Yeah.
And now I think you
Yeah,
have
but
to
I mean, way
specialize.
back then, you had to do everything because you needed your horse to go to town, to get your dinner, to get your mail. I mean, the Pony Express was still alive.
Yeah.
You had to ride
Yeah.
they-
School and
they were-
snow, you
They
know.
were
right.
tools. They were not a commodity then.
Up to a cart.
I feel like he's kind of age shaming you here,
He,
Pete.
he
I
is
don't
a
know.
little bit.
Both
yeah.
of you a little bit.
Yeah, it
Both
was
of
a
you.
while ago, right?
Both of
Oh,
you.
I didn't know he was going after me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm feeling bad for you because you're a lot younger than I am.
I told you guys not to keep me this sober during this show. I told you.
Yeah. So you grew up doing. So you did the roping. You did all. Did you do all the events? Did you do any rough stock events or just the timed events?
You know, I tried. Went to a rodeo and I had to ride one of the rough stocks to qualify for the all around, and I was in all the ropings and this and that. So I thought, it's steer riding. I'll get on that. I'll do that. So sure enough, I get there and I'm thinking I practice at home on our little roping steers, and so I get there thinking I'm doing that. They had bulls. They had big like bulls, and I'm like, this cat, I ain't doing this. So, but I thought I'll just ride him out one jump, and I'm just going to bail off. Well, I was dumb enough not to know that when a bull bucks this way, I jump that way. Well, and then I jumped forward too. Well, then he came right back the next stride, just like that, hit me in the head, knocked me out. That was the end of my rough stock.
Yeah.
I didn't do it anymore.
Yeah, I've told this story before, but for me, bull riding was, there's two times I like the bull riding. When we were sitting on the fence with boys talking about which bull we draw, and then at the dance afterwards. Everything in between was pure hell for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have the right, my niece is married to a PBR guy, and those guys are crazy.
No, next level.
Next
Yeah.
level crazy.
Huge level.
I mean, I used to nod my head and look for the first good opportunity to get off and get the hell out of there, because I just was not a bull rider.
Yeah.
That wasn't for me at all. But
And I rode enough, horses that bucked at the ranch. I knew I really didn't want to go compete
Yeah,
on that.
yeah.
I'm like, heck.
we do everything
Yeah.
we can to get them to not
Yeah,
buck.
I'm not buck, so I'm not going to go get on one that I know is.
That's
But
great.
we roped a lot. We had a really good junior high school or high school rodeo group that was going at that time, and really tough competitors, and it was a lot of fun.
Where are you from?
Grew up in New Mexico.
That's what I thought.
Fort
Yeah.
Sumner.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had my dad managed a big ranch, and so we had about 700 head of mother cows. It was about 40,000 acres. So
So I hit the nail right on the head, and you guys were shaming me for it. Huh? They used them.
Use the
go
horse
to
for
work.
everything.
Yeah.
Huh? To get
Yes.
their food. Maybe to get their mail. 700 acre
Go to
ranch.
school.
my dad probably did that.
Oh,
Gunny.
okay. Sorry. Yeah, I get lost sometimes, but it's not my fault. Okay, keep talking. Tom.
Whose fault is it?
Yeah.
I feel like it's his fault, Joe.
It probably is.
So when did you go? I thought you grew up in Arizona. So when did you move to Arizona?
Actually, when I graduated high school, and I worked for my uncle and did that for about a year. And then Tommy Menyon, he lived in Springfield, Illinois at the time. And he was the king of all of the horse show stuff. And he also did all the all around. I mean, everything. I had all the best halter horses, pleasure horses, reiners, Western riders. I mean, and so he said to me, he said, hey, you're going to have to come to work for me sometime. And I said, okay, yeah, sure. And then Jeff Matthews actually was working for him, and it had just quit. And Tommy called up and says, I need you. And I thought, you know what? This would be a good time to go try and see if I can do it without my family, and see if I can make this or not.
How old were you then?
I was 17 when I went to work for Tommy.
Okay.
So I graduated early from high school, and so I worked with him for a little over a year and a half, and then I wanted to get back out west, and so I came to work for Al Dunning, and
All
that's
right.
how I got to Arizona. Yeah, and so then I loved Arizona, and I actually found my wife Tamara. She used to ride with Al, and so I met her when she was going off to college, and so from there I chased her around a little bit and
It's one of the customers.
capture. Yeah, well, and captured her, and then we stayed there in Arizona for quite a while and trained out of there.
Yeah, and then did you go straight from Arizona to Whitesboro?
No, actually, I had Bill and Barbara Cowan from up in Montana. They had
Okay,
a
I
training
remember that.
facility in Utah, and they wanted us to come up there. We'd been helping their kids, and they had come down to Arizona and rode with us, and so they took us up there, and we visited quite a bit, and they convinced us to go up there. So we went up there, and we worked for them for 4 years. It was really a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. They're great, great people. And then when we left there, that's when we went to Texas. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And bought the ranch up there in Whitesboro.
And bought the ranch in Whitesboro. Yeah. And thanks to Tim McQuay, he's the one, him and Colleen, we went down, stayed with them. We looked at a jillion places trying to find something, couldn't really find it. And so we left and went back up to Utah, and then Tim calls me up. He says, I think I found a place. And it was just all land. It was a cattle place right there at the time, and it was really run down and a lot of trash. But we saw there was a lot of potential with it, and so plus I could afford it. So we came back and bought it and stayed there for over 20 years.
And there was nothing up there at that time, right?
No, there wasn't anything up there in Whitesboro. I mean, there was no horse people. The only person that was there is Todd Summers was there.
Scotty was there at that point or not?
He was still in Valley View over
Or
there.
Gainesville?
Or,
Yeah.
yeah, wherever he was. And then it was about a year and a half after that I
Then he
was there
moved.
that he moved over to,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah, and probably turned out to be, of all the good business things, and I know you've done a lot of them. I mean, you're definitely, in my opinion, one of the smarter guys in the horse business as far as being a businessman. But that was the best probably business deal you ever did, was buying that property, huh?
Oh, by far, and we didn't know it at the time. you
No,
know,
for
but
sure.
It was a lot of land. There was 170 acres, you know, and it seemed like a big reach for us, to be honest. But knew in the long run that it would be okay, but never dreamed it'd turn out as nice as it did, you know. And the location wound up being ideal, right on 377 for our business, you know. And then having all that land, we had a good breeding operation and ran a lot of mares and babies, and so it wound up being a very good move. It really
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this area, all of that stuff. I don't think you could be blind and deaf,
Which is okay.
which is okay, and such.
We're not making fun of people.
No,
It's
no,
like
I'm not
blind and
offending
deaf.
anybody.
Yeah.
It's hard to ride
Yeah.
if you're blind and deaf,
Basically, what
but
they're
we're
saying
fine.
was the property was a good buy.
Even I could find
Like
it. What I'm
even
saying.
you
Even I.
are a blind deaf squirrel and you found
the nut.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Because I did the same thing. Pretty much everybody in this area that bought land in the last
Yeah.
20 years, it's been, and that's, I mean, I would say the guys of our era, I mean, that's the single best thing that anybody ever did was go out and buy their own place and
Yeah.
and make a living out of it. And, you know, I mean, everybody here owns their own place. So
Yeah.
I think that'd be, I mean, it's hard to get there now. I think you have to move. It would have been, you or I both couldn't have bought our places now.
No,
right
No,
here.
there's no way.
No.
No, we'd be way up north, a little further north from here for sure. So
Yeah, you got to go up to Ardmore, Marietta now.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
I remember when Loom came down here and he bought land in up there in Marietta. I mean, I'm thinking the number was like $400 an acre
It was.
when
Yeah.
he bought all that land, and land down here was, I mean, a lot of the land that I got there at the ranch was, I think I gave $5,000 an acre for it,
Yeah.
and you know, I mean, now that stuff's selling for 80 to 90,000 an acre. I mean, it's
it's just crazy. The
it-
development from the north of Dallas going straight up north, you know, it's just incredible. It's a little surprised that the east, it didn't go east very fast. It hasn't, but it's starting to now.
Yeah, it hasn't jumped over 35.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, but this area is just, but I think part of it is, well, I mean, originally, Yeah, I think it was the horses that drove a lot of it, but now just everything, Frisco and everything coming up our way.
Yeah.
But that would be for sure, any kid that could afford to go out, and I don't know how old you are anymore when you can afford to do that. I guess it's going to be different with everybody, but to be able to go out and buy their own place and actually use it, and then when they're done, that's going to save a lot of guys. I mean, there's a lot of guys in our business, they're struggling along, and when they're done, that's going to be their out.
Yeah, that's one thing that when I grew up, I saw a lot of successful horse trainers that were good horsemen, and they'd go win a lot of ribbons and do well, but they didn't have anything.
Right.
They didn't have any money, and a lot of them couldn't afford to have a place. And I thought, boy, the one thing I got to figure this business still out. And luckily, my Uncle Jack was pretty smart about his business at that time, and a little diverse with his program. And I learned from him. And then Tommy Mannion, he's a wizard. I mean, was really sharp, and he really helped talk about the business. He wanted us that worked for him at the time to be successful, and let us know that how we had to do things in the business to be successful. And then I went to work for another one, which was Al Dunning.
Yep.
And we know how successful Al is. I mean, he's just a great guy, and same thing. He helped me. All of them helped with the horse training part of it, but really helped with the business part.
So how much?
And so one thing, I was never afraid to make changes.
Yeah.
If I thought it was a good move in my life to make a move and improve ourselves, that's what we did. And so we've done a lot of changes, but they've all been good.
Yeah, for sure. How much? So how many? Like, of your decisions to buy property, to buy horses, to move here, to do the things that you've done and be involved with, and all your business interests, how much of that you think is just inside of you, and how much of that is like you saw your uncle and you saw being with Tommy and being with guys like that? How much of that inspired you to be that?
I think, I don't know. I think I was always striving to do well in everything that I did. My parents brought me up trying to always give back and be a leader, and so all through school I was always involved in a lot of programs, FFA and different things like that, and so I wanted to be the president, or I was
Right.
always in charge. So I always wanted to step forward, and then like with that kind of background from those kind of trainers and the business that they gave me, it inspired me to continue to try and really make money, to do a good business and run a good business, but then make sure it was profitable and do other things to make business. We were very diversified in our training.
Well, I think seeing people do it in front of you makes it easy for you to go do it, because you go, well,
It works.
Why don't I just try to do what they're doing?
Exactly.
They just gave you the roadmap, basically. So.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate to work with three of the best at the time,
Yeah.
very fortunate.
And not just the best at the horse part of it, but really the best guys at running businesses.
Out of business is right, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've told these guys before, when I worked in Italy, on the rainy days, I went and I hung out with those guys.
Yeah.
Those were all great businessmen that worked really hard. And that's where I got a lot of my motivation, because they all drove black Mercedes. I was a poor boy from Wisconsin. I was going to have a black Mercedes someday. So that was always my inspiration. And I think that's being around people like that. It makes a big difference. I think you got to have something that motivates you and pushes you forward. And you've seen it. I've seen it. We've all seen guys that have won 20 world championships and won everything you can win and were the most famous guys in the country. At the end of the day, they just didn't have anything.
Speaking of motivation, for the last 44 years, my motivator's been Tamara, and so together we've made all these decisions all along, and together we each see opportunities on different things, horses or land, and we've bought a lot of land and resold property, and we were never afraid to just stay in the little training box. We were always looking around for different things, and I would see something and go, well, let's do that. She'd go, I think you're crazy. I said, that's why we're doing it. And luckily all of them worked out pretty well, to where we stayed out of jail and paid our bills anyway.
Yeah.
And so, but you got to have somebody pushing you along, and she's a lot smarter than I am.
That
And
was
so-
nice of you. Normally, Mandy has to text us that, hey, you should mention her right here. You just did it all on your own.
Hey,
You
see,
did it all on your own.
it's the training that she's put
That's the smart part.
Very impressive.
Yeah, that was great. It was,
But it's the truth, though. I mean, we've had a great. We work well together. You know, we have our strengths, each of us, and we're continuing to keep moving forward and doing projects. And
yeah, you and
she's
I've
still
done
cussing
stuff
me a little bit on some new projects I've got coming up. I know, but
like a putting green.
yeah, like a putting green, like my friend Tom has.
Yeah. You got to have that.
No,
Yeah.
whoa, wait a minute,
Yeah.
guys. How's that going to make you money?
Hey, when you win the tournament next month, huh?
Hey, I usually win $10 or $12 every time Cade and his buddies come over.
Exactly.
Just got to
See,
chip
there you
away.
You just gotta chip away.
That's right.
Literally, you just
I thought
chip
we were
away.
on to a business idea here. But that don't sound
You don't
good.
think it's going to be
That's not it. Tamara, that's not the business decision we're going to do.
Does it significantly improve Tom's golf game, Gunny?
Yes, it has, but not his financial situation.
Yeah, no, not my.
Hey, and
focus.
you've got to, and that's the other thing that we've always done is, and I think people in our horse industry get so engulfed they don't think they can leave and do that. You have to do some things for yourselves.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be able to have that release, and you get out and go off and do something, you know, for 3-4 days or a week if you can, and you've got to go out and do things for yourself, and so.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's one of the hardest things
It's
for
the
all
hardest
of us.
thing for all of us to do because you think you can't leave your horses, you can't leave your clients, but hopefully you've got some help that can take care of things and make it work. And your clients are actually always in favor of you leaving, to be honest with you. You know, we always think, oh, I can't leave because they think I'm not riding their horse, but they like go for a week.
Yeah.
You know, you need to get away. They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
Speaking of that, you used to have an event where, you know, people could get away to. You used to have a party at your ranch.
Yeah, that was fun.
How do we bring that back? How do
Yeah.
we bring back the Pete Kyle annual party? Do you want to do that at my house?
Yeah, we'll hold it
We
at your
could.
house. How's that?
That would be a good idea. There's
That was-
enough room, right?
I got enough parking area.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
an indoor arena. We got a track. We
That
can-
all started because Tamara wanted to help our school out with a program and donate some money and so they could buy a program to help some of the kids out there, and they couldn't take it. They didn't have a foundation or anything like that at all, and we're like, well, that's not. It's crazy, you know. We're trying to help the kids
Right.
and we can't, and so we helped form the Whitesboro Foundation for the high school, and that's why the party started. We did a fundraiser, and that's what it was. And we had several stallions we were sanding. We thought, let's have a little fundraiser. We'll auction off some of these stallions and a few items. And we raised like $3,500 that first year. And we thought, yeah, this is great. In school, they loved it. And then next year it got bigger. And then pretty soon, I mean, we're clearing $25,000 to $35,000 a year for the school, you know. And we was going on teacher grants and scholarships for the kids, and it wound up being a really good deal, and it still goes on. The you know, since we've left, they've continued with it, and we're really proud though of how much it's helped the Whitesboro education system up there.
No, that was always fun,
Yeah.
that party. You
We
did
used
the
to
slide contest, didn't
Have
you?
a sliding
Oh, yeah,
contest.
you did it.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I won it.
Oh, you had Rough-Hearted Jack, wouldn't you, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think
you're
you
correct.
did.
He won it.
Right?
Hey,
Yes.
he won it the year that they cooked eggs on the grill afterwards. Okay.
Yeah.
Cook eggs on the grill.
Yeah, you know how well that
Oh
would work.
boy, yeah,
Yeah, that's the year he won it.
yeah.
It was a good party. We always had a live band and good music and a lot
Good
of
food,
things,
yep, a
good
lot of people,
food, and
yep.
we had a few drinks there for people. And one year, yeah, I look up and our house was down front on the property, and I see about 8 or 10 guys going down to my house. And this isn't good. I'd better go. I told him I've got to go save the house. And sure enough, they were going in there and they had skillets out and they were starting to cook. And I'm like, I'll cook whatever you guys want. So,
Yeah, and the they that he's talking about was
Yeah.
me and Gunny. Were you there?
No, That was the first time.
Dell.
I heard that.
Dale.
Dale, Scott.
Scotty.
Yeah, I was scrambling eggs, and they're about half cooked, and Scott's like, they're just right. And he's eating right out of the skillet. So, but we had a lot of fun, and it was all for a good cause, you know.
Can we just not do my party for a good cause? Can we just do it for fun?
Well, that's a good cause right there.
Yeah.
Bring back the Halloween party at your place.
Oh, yeah, we did.
The Halloween party at Tom's place is and Tom and Mandy's. is
Tom
the
and
place.
Mandy killed the Halloween parties, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
I think we could find some video of Tom doing the worm on the dance floor.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's video of several things.
Yeah, a lot of things.
Either way, we should bring back some kind of party. Although
Well-
I saw the Legacy Sales having a party this year, huh? Who orchestrated
Live
that?
band,
Huh?
live band,
Is it having a party?
sponsored by Rick Clark.
Is it like a get together
Jennifer
party, like
Anderson.
a good time party?
Well, I don't think we're gonna have a bad time party.
Is it like a upstairs in the bar kind of party?
It's gonna be a good party.
It's gonna be a good time. Don't.
When's the last time you came to one of my parties and didn't have a good time?
Yeah.
There you go. See, now you got your
I
wish.
think
She's
the last
throwing you a
Halloween
party.
party I got in some serious trouble. That wasn't very much fun. Okay, I mean it was fun before I got into trouble. After that, it wasn't very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
we
were
had to
fun.
quit doing those Halloween parties because it was, you know, a lot of those young assistant trainers would come over, those 18, 19-year-old girls dressed in skimpy. It was just disgusting.
Yes.
Yes. Just very uncomfortable for you, right?
Yeah, well,
They should be in school.
Oh, yeah. They should be in bed. It's
Yeah.
9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Instead, they're out dancing around in a cat outfit. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, those girls.
I decided that was enough of that.
Yeah, put a stop to that.
Yeah, right away. Speaking of good times, you and I've had a lot of good times overseas and stuff too, huh?
Yes.
You were. What was your official capacity in some? One time you were on the team when we went to, but I don't like to talk about that a lot because we were silver medalists.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think probably only the second time ever the U.S. didn't win the gold. But I want to be real clear that we all were pretty sure we should have.
I kind of want to talk
you
about it.
got,
We were a victim of.
got robbed.
I think we got robbed a little.
Yeah.
We got a little hometown there
Yeah.
in Italy.
We got beat by the Italians in Italy, and I don't really think. I think if you were to go watch those judges, and I know this isn't politically correct, but I don't care. We won.
I'm sure a lot of the other teams said that as well on other years. The U.S. team, you know, we really beat them, but they got it.
The crowd really wanted the Italians to win, and then I think the judges got into all of that.
Yeah.
But I thought
We had Jordan Larson and Craig Smersler, yourself, and myself, and we had a good team and did well.
Yeah, we still had fun.
Yeah, and then Jordan and Craig, they came back and won the gold and silver, I think, in the individual, so they
Yeah.
were good. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And,
Son of a
and I
bitches
was-
undermarked us again, Pete.
yeah. I was president of for the USCF and FEI on the
Okay.
reining committees, and so I would represent the USCF, and I'd go with all the teams and kind of help out with Jeff, who was the chef de keep.
Yeah, you can't think of any of those experiences or those teams without thinking of Jeff Petzka and John Newcomb.
Yep, those two guys were the best. I mean, they put in so much work and effort, and it was really a pleasure to work with both of them. They're both professionals, and you know, we lost Jeff earlier this year, and it was a sad day for us, I'll tell you that. And John Newcomb's just the finest vet there is, and nobody works harder than
Nobody
he does.
works harder. Just
And,
quality individual, both of those guys. And, you know, Jeff, I mean, he was just one of those guys that we never, you just did, even when I heard he had cancer, it was like, yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's tough.
yeah.
He's a Nebraska boy.
Yeah, because he just didn't seem like the kind of guy that, he was a guy you always thought was going to live forever,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, that was just kind of always hustling, always going. He made those teams, and I told him, too, before, you know, right there before he passed, I said, you know, showing up at those things, you're so freaking nervous, as you know, and there's nothing that compares to a team thing. Like, we go to the fraternity, you're showing for yourself and your customer. When you go for a team, that whole team is counting on you, and it's, you know, in that case, it was Jordan and Craig, and I've been on teams with, you know, Tim and Sean and all, Craig and everybody, and it's just a different kind of pressure when you're showing in that. And
It really was. It surprised me, you know, because like I've been on a lot of, as you guys in sports, you know, you're on a lot of teams and you feel that pressure making sure it all works for your team. But that was riding for the USA and for those guys, you know, and you wanted to hold your end up. And I remember Jeffy had a plan for each one of us on how to ride our horse. You know, he was really good about that. And my mare backed up a Bueno Poco Done It. And she would back up 100 miles an hour really fast. And so, boy, I run it one night before and I practiced and I backed her up. And, boy, she ran back and he come up to me. Now, Pete, that was really good. But he says, you're the first one off. And I want you just to have a solid, good run. And don't run her back that fast. I said, okay, Jeff, I'll go easy. Boy, I finished that run and she was really good. And it was the last stop and she just nailed it. And I went like that. And boy, she just, whoom, I was running back and stopped. And I looked over at Jeff and smiled. He was going like this, you know.
He just had a way, though, of when you walked into the barn, you just felt comfortable. I mean, no matter how big the day was, you just felt comfortable. And, you know, I'm the same as you. I grew up in all those team sports and stuff, but basketball, hockey, you're out there with your team. This is a team sport where you're still out there by yourself.
Yes.
You know?
And you're doing your job.
And you want to get, because even though in those team deals, you know, they count the top 3 out of 4 scores, but you don't want to start the team off bad because then all the heat's on the end. Then nobody can make a mistake. Yeah. Whereas if you pop out and mark a 225 or 227 or whatever, then kind of takes, okay, everybody can kind of go for it a little now because one mistake doesn't kill you. Yeah. But, yeah, we had wouldn't we all go to Majorca, Spain together after that?
Yes, we all went down there and competed. There was a big NRHA added money down there, and we all went down. It was fabulous. I had the horses ferry over on the boat, and we had a good time down there as well.
Oh, we did. Yeah, Del Hendricks, he had kind of a bad run, and he decided it would be a good idea to just throw his chaps to his wife.
Oh.
And that wasn't a good idea.
No.
No. Del and I were staying at the same hotel that year, and Mandy and it was it was a lot of long, quiet car rides for the next day or so. Why Del's wife was getting over the fact that the chap incident happened.
Came to her.
Yeah,
but it was a good show.
Yeah, but I remember, but that was the next year when you went. Del wasn't there that year. That was the next year when we all went the second time.
Yeah,
and I think did we go 2 or 3 times total? Just 2 times.
Yeah, and then they stopped having it.
Yeah, so. They paid us. Remember, they paid us in a brown paper bag full of money.
Yeah,
full of cash. American dollars, cash. Yeah, and they paid out. I mean, that thing paid out a lot of money. Paid out 150, 200,000 something, and they said that that's the second time they had to pay it because the first time.
Didn't they get robbed or something?
Yeah, somebody ran off. One of their people ran off with the money. Wow. So they had to come up with the money twice.
God.
And they did. I mean, they came up with it. But
I wonder if they ever caught that somebody because they would know who ran off with it.
Yeah,
right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
He couldn't run far, could he? He was on an island.
He probably swimming now.
Swimming with the fishes.
Yeah, I guess he's swimming.
Those concrete boots are heavy.
Yeah, but it's a little bullfighting ring, and you had to turn the corner and go because it was tight. It was little.
It was fun though. It was a big challenge.
It was a lot of fun, and you were always Pete to me, and then now you're Peter to me. But for a while there at that show, you were Pizzy. Remember that? Pizzy. Oh, yeah. Oh, Pizzy. We had a lot of fun there.
Pizzy? Why'd they call you Pizzy?
Well, kind of, it's like Pete and you're drunk. It's Pizzy.
Oh, gotcha.
Right?
It wasn't like I guess he was implying. They just
that's it.
I see.
It
wasn't like some European.
Well, we didn't. I mean, me and Joe didn't have that fun. So
no.
But I'm reliving it now.
Yeah.
I can visualize
you guys
it.
are too young to have any fun.
Yeah, right?
You know, this is stuff before there were phones, okay?
Yeah.
Record all of it. So you could have fun then.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, it's too serious now.
Yeah. No, it's crazy, though. Speaking of that, it's crazy how much the business has changed. I mean, we used to go to, when I was Mandy and I were just starting to date, it was a lot more relaxed atmosphere at the horse shows. You know, I mean, it was a lot more. As younger people, there was partying and having fun, and we do have stickball games in the makeup pen, and there's always something fun going on. But it's so much more serious now. You found that or no?
Yes, and I think there's several reasons. One, back there when you were a little younger, that we didn't have quite the number of trainers, and for sure didn't have the quality of horses that we have now, you know. And now we have so many more competitors. Our shows are so much bigger. Every one of our shows are big, and you're just trying to control your time, you know. And so you don't go out and do as many activities as what we used to do, because they were shorter days, and you'd had the nights or early evenings go out and do things, and people were more in that atmosphere of going and doing things together, you know. And so now at our shows, they're all so busy. We have our parties within our show, but, you know, we just go there and then we're back getting ready for it, because I think the depth of the horses now and then the depth of the riders that we have are just tremendous. And you have to be really serious. You know, if you're going to go try and win something, you've got to be prepared, and you don't have time for games, you know.
And it goes back to what we were talking about. You were so diversified as a trainer growing up. Now you almost, no matter what you do, you almost have to be specialized.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it's so competitive everywhere with such good horses. And there was a small time frame where there was that group of guys that were, you know, that are now 45 to 55 or 45 to, and we all wondered, who's going to be the group? Because it's, for a while, there wasn't a group showing up after that.
Right.
I mean, there wasn't really, you're all kind of wondering, and then all of a sudden, they just came out of the woodwork. I mean, there's so many good young guys now.
So many
that that have, you know, access to, they have access to be able to the people that can teach them how to train horses, and they, you know, they're riding nice horses. They got good customers, and they are living the business. I mean, that's all they, like Cade and his little group of friends. That's all they think about. I mean, they eat, sleep, and drink the horse business.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like that. I mean, yeah, you did, but I know you also did other things. You know, you went on vacation, you played basketball. You know, there was a lot more, you know, stuff we could do. Now, I mean, it's these kids.
You know, and they're so fortunate to have the quality of horses that they all are riding now. You know, I mean, you think back when we were young, some of the horses that we rode that really weren't good in anything, but we had to make them be good. You know, I mean, now they've got the luxury of one's not quite good enough for the reining. They can send it off to other disciplines, but then they've got 3 more waiting to go in again, you know, and even better horses. So they don't have as, with the breeding programs that have gone on in the last 30 years, our quality of horses is just incredible.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Just incredible.
Yeah, and
Good-minded, good movers, very athletic.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, with mothers
Easy
and
to train.
fathers that have
Yeah.
been ones.
easy to train, very
and
trainable.
forgiving.
Trainable.
Yeah.
Forgiving.
Yeah. You know, some of those orangutans we used to ride, if you had one bad day, you were paying for it for a month.
Yes.
You know? And now you can walk out of there scratching your head thinking, I screwed this thing up bad. And the next day it might even ride better.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's just, you're like, what was I thinking today? I mean, I just didn't do.
That never happens to me.
Okay. It doesn't happen to him, but I used to think it all the time. Like, what was he doing
What the heck
today?
is he doing? He's so dumb.
Well,
That's exactly what he thought.
actually, I thought that about him about a week ago, but
And tomorrow it'll happen again.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Consistency.
he wasn't thinking that on Saturday because I hit some damn good shots on Saturday.
yeah, he was good out in the golf course. Would you shoot 77?
Yeah, I didn't score very good, but
She didn't score very good.
I did.
77's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I don't like him.
I
on.
missed 2 birdie putts, 3 birdie putts under 6 feet, and probably
So does everybody else.
7 or 8 that were 10
So
feet.
does everybody else.
Yeah, no, but I hit every green in
Well,
regulation.
Tom's got a.
I
I was saying,
Yeah,
I
you
was
can
saying,
practice out
yeah,
back.
I'm gonna go out there.
Yeah.
I was saying swear words at one shot. And I hit it 3 feet away from the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Missed the
Everybody's
putt.
got that story about golfing. I missed 5 or 6 chip shots about 40 feet out. 40 yards out.
Same way in,
Yeah,
in
if they
showing
go in-
Rainers, you know, I was really good till he trotted through the middle. you
Yeah,
know?
right.
Yeah, would have won.
Exactly.
I would have
Could've
won if
won
I
it,
didn't fall out of lead and break
Yeah,
eight.
exactly.
That happened to Brian Bell at the Derby. He told us the story last week.
Yeah.
Did you see on one of the video we did, Brian Bell, one of the comments, the guy thought that it was going to be Brian Bell from Weezer.
When Weezer, yeah, I talked about that earlier.
He's like, I'm all disappointed. I thought this was Brian Bell from Weezer.
Yeah. I saw that. I didn't even know there was another Brian Bell.
No,
I mean,
I
assumed
thought there was only one.
somewhere.
I didn't know
Yeah.
anybody cared about the band Weezer.
Weezer.
anymore. Did they? Yeah, never mind.
No.
I'm not gonna say it.
No, but you're
Yeah, they
right.
were lucky to get the good Brian Bell.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
just
that's-
didn't know it.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No, but you're right. Those horses, like I was up at Casey Hinton's the other day, and when I first started working for him, I was riding. We had halter horses
Yes.
that we were just trying to ride around.
Yeah.
And then there was another one. He traded a steel 6-horse inline trailer for a horse.
6-horse inline? Are
inline.
you sure?
Yeah, yeah.
There had to be a long
Straight trailer, not 6-horse straight, like side by side,
Not
but
inline.
Okay,
Front
not
to back.
inline, front to back, front to back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that thing was terrible.
Yeah, that wasn't
Yeah, that was a long trailer.
Pulling an old Cadillac
Yeah.
Eldorado.
Yeah, I was picturing that in my mind. I've seen a lot of things. I've
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
seen
It
Seen
didn't
that,
have
yeah.
4 wheels on it.
It had
12.
yeah, that's right.
Call her the Caterpillar.
Yeah.
She was sectioned in the middle.
Anyway, what did you get for it?
I think, well, it was a horse. We traded
Yeah.
a horse for it.
Yeah.
That was it. I mean, it wasn't much of a horse. You know?
Sounds like it wasn't much of a trailer.
Sounds
Like,
like
no, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was pretty bad.
Fair trade.
But
then.
yeah, that thing
trailer
tried
didn't
to
cost him any money that month, did it? It just sat there feed free.
yeah, no, that horse tried to kill me. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
And the
that's
ones
it,
you
the
went and
horses.
looked at last week were nice? You know, the ones you weren't looking at Tom and
Yeah,
Mary's
yeah,
place?
yeah. They were a little nicer.
I feel like I've been cheated on.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
you gotta go. You gotta just go out and shop around a
No,
little to
that-
know
yeah.
where the good stuff is.
Yeah,
then
that's
you'll
right.
find out. You come
Yeah.
back. You always come home.
No, because I go, I have other errands to do and
Yeah.
cruise around, and
Yeah. You
when I'm
tire-
driving out the driveway, I kind of look.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah,
Tire kick a little here and there.
yeah. But no, the horses were so different.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's helped everybody's training program by having that quality of horse now to work with, so.
But and I liked it like back then when we went to the quarter horse shows and you did everything.
Yeah.
You took your reiners in the Western riding class
Yeah.
to fill the class and tied your horse up to the tree all day and waited for the class. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, it
You know?
was when I remember I was 13 or 14 years old. My dad would always leave me home because my brothers were all a lot older than me and they were gone already. He would leave me home to do the chores. And I remember Wyndham, Minnesota. I wanted so bad to go to that horse show because it was always a fun show. They had a cutting and a reining, and that's what we did. And I wanted so bad. So my dad said, "All right, you find somebody to do chores." So I hired a college kid to come out and do chores, and I went with him. And it was like I was just craving it,
Yeah.
And the Quarter Horse Journal, like when you talk about some of the names, I don't know a lot of the people that you ran with, worked for, whatever. But I know them because I studied the Quarter Horse Journal and I studied the Cutting Horse Chatter and I studied the Rainer and
Yeah.
I don't know how many times. I'm sure my mom and dad thought I was really constipated because I'd sit right there on the toilet and read those magazines for. You need some prunes in there. What do you.
Yeah, that's the way when I grew up, AQHA was a big association and NRHA was more just back east. Very little on the West Coast, but not much. And so that's what I grew up doing was the AQHA shows and the all around and everything like that. And then, like you say, eventually it'd get to the point, even with the AQHA, then we started doing more reining. We decided, hey, let's specialize and just go with the reining, And so Tim McQuay, he helped us out a lot, and I was lucky to have a lot of really good mentors that helped me along. And so
Who else helped you in the reining?
Well, funny enough, John Hoyt. I mean, he was a really good person he's such a great horseman and so knowledgeable, even from the old days. But the other thing that he and my Uncle Jack that I thought they did good, and I learned from them on this, is those guys in that era, they didn't stay in that era. They progressed as the eras change and training changes a little bit. You either change with it, the good guys change with it and keep competitive, or you just get stale and old. And they continued to improve and with the training techniques and showing and so John was always a good eye. He'd always come by the ranch and help us. We'd have a problem, we'd say, hey, come by. So
Well, it was a little bit at the end of his of his but I remember when he would come to the reining fraternity and show the reiners and did really well. He had Lady Kuiper.
Yep.
And
really good mare.
Yeah, he had a couple of really good ones there in a row. And I think the best thing the NRHA, just like the NRCHA, I think the best thing the NRHA ever did was move to Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Because it brought all the West Coast people in, and I think the West Coast influence changed the sport.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was more face on them, more control, more. I've told the story before, but Sam Smith, he was telling me one time, he came in, we were at the fraternity, he says, I saw Brett Stone out there changing leads on Boomernick. And he says, he changed 50 leads on him. Can you believe he changed 50 leads on him? I said, well, how good was he doing it? He says, he changed like a Western rider. It's probably because he changed 50 leads on it. They brought in we used to just go the other way and kick them.
Yeah.
It changed so much.
Pick and stick,
Yeah, exactly.
as old Jack would say.
Yeah. So it changed the whole game. And we found out that pick and stick is fine for 3 runs.
For a couple times,
And then you're done. Now it's with the way everybody's training them and the kind of horses we have now, that's why they're still out there showing. I mean, one of our non-pros, she's showing a horse that's 17, 18, yeah.
And that's the other thing that's changed that's incredible, which is really a great thing. But like a lot of reiners back in the 70s, and 80s when I was really young, after the fraternities, they were pretty much done.
Yeah.
They didn't have much of a
Yeah.
life. I mean, they'd go off and be some just horse out somewhere. To where now we have so many good events to go to for all those age horses, through 7-year-old with all the derbies, and then the 8-year-old and up challenges, and then all the non-pro and youth that are competing, and so their longevity is there. In our training, because of our training, they have a longer life.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, going back and now they're almost like they've been to camp.
Yeah.
I mean, they're soldiers now.
Yeah.
And the great thing about them, and we've talked about this a lot, you can sell them to anybody. I mean, the good ones you can sell them to, and anybody can ride them. They don't even have to horse show. Like if I was somebody that had a lot of money and wanted a horse for me and my wife to go ride around on, I'd want one like that.
Yeah.
That
And
I could
there's a
spin
lot
around
of people, and you've sold a lot of them
Yeah.
to different people that want a trail horse, but they want a safe one, and so they're smart to go buy a nicer broke horse like that they can go out and ride and enjoy,
Yeah.
and not have one dragging them all over the place.
Yeah, I was watching one of those MTV shows, where they show, ex-musician, or not ex-musicians, but musicians at home, and
MTV Cribs.
yeah, it wasn't Cribs, but it was one of those shows anyway. And Vince Neil was on there at his little ranchette with his wife, and they had some horses and stuff. And he gets on these things. He couldn't turn it around in half an acre.
Yeah.
And he's got his head just wallering around, and his wife gets on, she can't make it go. I'm like, what? I mean, people just, at that point, I think now they're getting through Yellowstone and some of these other things. I think they're understanding what our product is. But like right then, I was like, we are missing a huge opportunity because he can afford whatever he wants.
Right.
Why the hell would he want to ride that thing?
Yeah.
If he rode one of ours, he wouldn't ride that thing for 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Is there anything wrong with your
No, I hated his horse. I like
Vince Neil, we don't like your horse.
Hey,
You're
I like
okay.
Vince Neil.
You need a different horse.
No, we went to Motley Crue. We saw him. We like him, but he had a shitty horse.
I tell you what, it's like good horsemen, you know, too. Appreciate a good horse. D. Wayne Lucas, we're at the track with him there at Churchill Downs, and he's on his horse out there. He ponies on and takes him out to the track, and so we're talking about training and different things, and you know, the sun's kind of coming up, and he goes over there. He says, "Well, tell me what I'm doing wrong here," and he just he spins that thing around each way, you know. I said, "Nothing, sir. You're doing just fine."
Yeah, you know he was having fun.
Oh, he loved it. He loved a good horse that was broke like that.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
so.
of course. How can it not be 10 times more fun to get on one and be able to steer it around? And I think we're just starting to reach into that market.
Yeah.
You know, but it is incredible. Our horses are so, like, it's incredible how hard it is to find that bomb-proof. Like, some of ours are so good. We've got customers that we have orders for those kind of horses that are bomb-proof. I mean, we ride them in the arena all the time.
Yes.
So then as soon as you take them outside and the grain truck's there and they think it's going to eat them and you damn near fall off. I mean, it's like I couldn't walk from on an older horse the other day. I couldn't walk from my arena over to the Mare Motel, which is 50 feet, because there's a grain truck there unloading grain, you know. I mean, there's some of them that aren't that, but when you find that one that is, like, to me, the gunners are amazing at that because they just don't care.
Right. They're just good-minded.
Yeah, they just go
I tell
out.
you, you know, we just ride our own horses now and stuff, and so now that I have more time, just like you guys, I mean, you're busy, you're trying to get one horse done, and like I say, you're in the arena, and you need to get off, get the next one, spend the time you need on each one of them, so you don't go out and do that. So that's one thing that I've really enjoyed doing, is going out and doing more things on my horses. You know, even if I'm trying to make them reiners, I've gone and worked cattle on them, you know, swing the ropes on them, drag stuff on them, you know, do all kinds of things, and just out and around the ranch all the time. And you get back to going, they're a lot better.
Yeah, he's got a good one.
Might have two that you're interested in talking about.
I feel like I'm being sold right
That's
now.
right. Yeah. Real pretty.
Yeah,
Take a land
both of them
step.
are really pretty horses.
Easy keeper.
All right.
Doesn't weave.
Yeah, Pete Kyle, phone number 903. I don't know the rest of it.
No, but it's what you have time for, and what you put those horses into. Like you say, those horses are broke to death in that arena.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do anything you want to on them, but you get them out, like say, all of a sudden that stuff gets them a little bit.
Because it's hard to spend that other time, like you're saying, going out if you're not getting paid to do that.
That's it.
You know, that is tough.
Yeah.
But now you guys have been doing more of the ranch riding and showing
Tamara,
stuff.
my wife, we've got a nice horse she showed in the reining fraternities and did real well with, and then she started doing the ranch riding with him, and
Well, didn't you win big time last week?
yeah, she did really well. She won a couple of world champions at the IRHA down at the Paint World Show and the International Ranch Horse Association, and so very fortunate. We had several down there. We had a young mare that we were fourth in the ranch riding fraternity with, and
Cool.
yeah, and she's a fraternity mare that we're going to hopefully rein on this year too as well. So
I think
You're a kept man.
yeah.
me too.
Been the best.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then we're doing the cow horse stuff. Tamara won the world in the boxing last year, so so been pretty good.
Yeah, that's really good. And that ranch ride and that deal's been just the greatest thing for not just the quarter horse industry, but really for the reining horses too. I mean, because it's a great place to go with some of ours that, you know, they're quiet and they're pretty lopers, but they're maybe not the biggest stopper, the biggest turner, and it's been a great outlet.
Yeah, and it's been a great outlet for those reiners that maybe get a little burned out or something. Then they can go over there and do that. You know, both ways. It's really good. And then they're so broke, like you have them, that people can get on them and go do all that ranch riding maneuvers and look like stars right off the bat. You know,
Yeah.
so it's been a great class. It's been really big in all associations. You know. The Arabian Association, it's huge there as well. Any association you want to go to, and there's a lot of ranching associations out there putting on different ranching activities, and it's been a great move for a lot of people. Really
Right.
has been.
So you live in Amarillo,
Yes.
and you moved out there because you went to work for AQHA, right?
Yes, yeah, we trained for a long time, and we always talked about maybe a little exit plan at some point,
Yeah.
but we were a long ways away from that, and then really the exit plan was just to reduce down and make it a smaller business
Right.
and have more time. And AQHA, Johnny Trotter called me up and wanted me to come out and run the show department there, and I told him no. He says, well, I've got you appointment, this day, so come. So we went out and met with him, and then I told Tamara, this is a little early exit out of the training deal, but I said, I think this will be a great opportunity. So I've always enjoyed AQHA, the American Quarter Horse Association, always done a lot, been involved with them, a national director and all that. And so went out there, and that was another move, that's another change in our life. That was a huge change, from what we've been doing our entire life.
Right.
But again, I felt it was a good time in our career to move and do that, and it was an opportunity that I really look forward to taking a challenge of that, and so we did it. I did that for 6 years, and
How many bosses did you have working in an office? Did you have a bunch of bosses?
yeah, luckily I didn't. I
Oh.
I got to
I
have
was
one
curious.
boss above me, and
Oh, okay.
that was
I don't know. I just think about like working in an office, having a bunch of bosses.
Now I had a lot of people under me, and then I've had people over some of those. So there were a lot of bosses, like you say, depending on where you were in line.
Did you have a stapler?
I did have a stapler, yes, but I asked the girls how to use it.
What is it? A swing line?
A swing line stapler.
No, it's just it's the old stamp it hard. No automatic deal.
Yeah, not a.
No,
Put it,
no,
you
the
had
battery, yeah.
Yeah, swing line. That's
Exactly,
what you got to
swing
get.
line.
You have to get that. That's a company issue.
So, but yeah, I enjoyed that. It was
I'm
fun.
sorry, they're morons, but
That's why we're
feel-
here. That's why I'm here. Anyway.
I feel obligated.
I'm
so-
here to ask dumbass questions like that. There's no other reason for me to be here. That's why I'm here.
You're doing a good job.
I'm trying to fill my role, okay?
So I got
That's awesome.
we're getting to the end, but I got a great Pete story. So we played in a basketball league up there in Whitesboro, and we're pretty freaking good. We won the league a couple times, and it wasn't just
we were
it wasn't.
good. We were so good. I mean, there was
Well, let me
scouts there.
preface it
Hey,
that
will
were
you cut his
drafting us.
microphone off?
They were drafting us. There were scouts.
The first year we were a bunch of just all of us horse trainers
Yeah,
got
we were
together,
terrible.
and we all thought, hey, let's just go play in this league. It'll be fun. So we went there thinking we'd just run around and play. Well, none of us had been working out or anything like that. So the
and that
first
hasn't
year,
changed.
the first year, all of those teams tromped us. I mean, they just beat us like a redheaded stepchild. And then we decided, then we're competitors. So we
Wait a
said,
minute. Wait a minute.
okay, we're going to go
I'm trying
play.
to think. Redheaded stepchild. Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can say that.
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay. All right.
You can say that. Nobody.
And that's another thing that changed in life. Is what you can and can't say.
That's right.
Yeah.
But now go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, and he's right, because I remember I'd never experienced anything like this. That first year, I'm going to go back to that first year that he referenced. Those guys are inbounding the ball, and they're in the offense. He's on the baseline on the offensive end, and I'm blocking out. I'm looking through, and he just throws the ball higher than I can reach up and grab it. And some dude comes over the top of me and grabs it, and he just dunks it. And I'm like, oh shit. This isn't our little horse trainer group anymore. So the second year we recruited a little bit. We got a point guard, and we got a guy named Michael Moore, who was a big dude that could dominate the middle.
In shape.
In shape.
Yeah.
And then all of our wives started to come to the games and support us. I
Oh.
noticed. And they really wanted to support us that second year.
Yeah,
Which
it's
you're-
funny how that happens.
Yeah.
Cheering section.
Yeah.
With those young guys playing with us.
Yeah.
And when practice came around, it was like shirts and skins, and Michael was always a skin, and all the wives were there, right?
Yeah, our wives really
Nice.
took an interest in our basketball
Nice.
players. That made me feel good.
was so good of 'em.
Yeah. But the second year,
supportive.
we were very good. We won the league, and we went. Well, Pete is kind of the icon, the raise money for the school. The Mr. Whitesboro.
Yeah.
And everybody looked up to Pete. Well, he didn't like the officiating in one of our games, and he grabbed the ball from the ref, and he kicked it, and it hit the roof, and they ran Pete right out of the game. They kicked him right.
No.
And the ref was his banker. Kicked him right out of his banker. Kicked him right out of the arena.
No, you just had a fit.
I don't remember that story.
Yeah, that's right.
Never happened, Tamara. It never happened.
That's
Well, I tell you what, this guy's driving the ball right down the line. I stood up like this, took a clear charge. I mean, I sacrificed my body. And poof, I land there and I'm like, yeah. And he goes, foul on you, number 12, you know, and I get up and I'm like, what? Whack. And he's like, yeah, now you're out of here.
You kicked the ball.
He took the ball. He pulled the ball
Like
from
Bobby
him.
Knight.
Yeah, my coach, Bobby Knight. Yeah.
Oh, it was the
that's
greatest
awesome.
thing I ever seen. Yeah,
Something you do when you're 12.
Exactly. And that is exactly like, you know, when you see the grown-ups and they're in those, you know, they're in those pictures where when they were little kids and stuff. I thought that's exactly, this is the
looked like-
12-year-old Pete.
This is my ball.
Yeah. Oh my
That's
God.
awesome.
But it was fun.
It
We had
was
a good
fun.
time.
It was
And they had
fun.
one team that dominated the league, but we beat them in the championship
Yeah,
game.
we sure did.
Yeah, and they were real upset.
Yep. Well,
That's good.
and this is the God's honest truth. Towards the end of that league, they had to have the police there.
Yeah, you guys said it got rough, right?
Yeah, it got real rough. And there was some other teams from some bigger towns that didn't look like us horse trainers type people. And they were good. They were real good. And we beat them, and it got rough there towards the end.
They didn't like us.
No, and we were rough. I'm not gonna lie, we were a little rough. And yeah,
Well, you got those
They-
was a
razor
time.
elbows.
yeah.
you
That's
know?
when Detroit was winning. You know, we were just following.
Oh
them.
yeah, we were just playing that style of
Little
basketball.
beer every now
Yeah.
and then, elbow here.
Yeah, yeah, he was good at it too.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, Peter, thanks for coming.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you guys for having me.
Yeah,
I appreciate
that was
it.
great.
I enjoy watching all your shows, and you guys do a great job with it.
You've
It's
never
always
seen
entertaining.
one of our shows.
Yeah, I have. Well, I've seen one.
Which one?
The one you showed me today.
Before I came out, here's what it looked like. No,
Yeah, this is what we do.
no, I watch them. They're great. You've had a lot of good people on too.
Well,
Yeah,
we
we like
appreciate
doing
it and appreciate you having you here.
Yeah, for
Thank
sure.
you guys.
All right.
Good stories.
Grow the show.